Bitcoin and crypto absolutely collapsing. We are seeing also the markets globally taking a huge hit. There is fear in entering a huge recession, potentially a depression in the next coming months. We have the Japan situation, the Iran-Israel situation. So there's a lot of fear globally, guys, and we are seeing that reflected on the charts. The question is, are we front running all of this situation already? Was this the hit that we needed to take, and the markets are going to start recovering in the next coming weeks? We are going to talk about the bullish case scenario and the bearish case scenario looking at Bitcoin, and some very interesting news and other charts that I want to talk about in today's episode. Now, the Wyckoff reaccumulation schematic did not happen. We did not see any proof of support. This is why I was not entering any long positions the last few days. We wanted to see proof of support, a consolidation, and then look at the scenario to potentially look for a long. Now, the short positions that I entered, I've been adding to the position and taking all of the profits, got stopped out at break even as I was adding to that position with a small little bounce that we had yesterday. So I'm currently in no positions, no shorts, no longs, and analyzing very carefully what could be the next scenario. Guys, if you are interested in trading, Bluffing is for me a great trading platform because it's no KYC. Just with an email and a password, you can start trading in minutes and you have 15% cash back from your initial deposit. Make sure to sign up with the link down below in the description and join the competition that is going on right now, where we have a possibility of getting $300,000 as prize pool. We can get a piece of the cake here altogether, as we are doing pretty good in the ranking in the competition here on Bluffing. Let's dive in here right away, guys. Let's start off with Bitcoin. This is something that we've been talking about during the last couple of weeks. Are we in a Wyckoff reaccumulation schematic? We were very carefully analyzing the dip during the last few days, but saying very patiently, guys, I am not in any long position the last few days. I am looking for double bottoms. We are looking for sideways momentum to analyze the situation to see if we are finding proof of support on higher time frames, on lower time frames, and the market was just collapsing down during the last few days. Now, the people that are building long positions and just have limit orders and building long positions, they potentially have got wrecked with this movement down. If you're only using a 10x leverage on Bitcoin when you've been buying above $60,000 during the last few days, believing that we are going to find some support and we are going to reverse, you get extremely wrecked with these movements, guys. This is why we've been talking about not looking for longs just yet till we find a consolidation, local double bottoms, and start forming some sideways momentum. And this did not happen, guys. We've just been falling very aggressively during the last few days. Now, let's analyze the higher time frame scenarios for Bitcoin, and I'm going to keep it extremely simple. Is this the end? Are we going to start moving to much lower levels? When we take a look at the analysis on the higher time frame, we are still very much on track, right? This is not a zone that I could be extremely bearish. When we analyze the waves to the upside and the timing from the low that was created in November of 2022, we can see clearly that this has been the first impulsive move to the upside right over here to April, as you can see on the chart. This sideways momentum forming an ABC flat in a second wave. This being the third wave, and I strongly believe that we are still inside of the fourth wave, even though we've got this major corrective move. And the main reason why is because of the timing, guys. This corrective structure that we do see from the last few months has been just under the corrective structure that we had in 2023. When we take a look at the timing here from this correction, from the peak of April of 2023 to the bottom in September of 2023, and we get the timing all the way up here to the high, we are still under the 1-to-1 extension in timing here, as you can see. So the timing has been very similar from this corrective move. This was very boring. We were moving down, a lot of people in doubt here from getting a recovery. And this was a period that we had of 5 months, going from April all the way to September. Now we've had 5 months here since March, okay, into August right now. So the question is, will we manage to find a bottom formation? Let me just tell you that we are just about to phase the strongest level of support. And yes, that is the point of control from the entire range from 2020 to 2024. You might think, my goodness, we are still looking for support. The price is just collapsing. But overall, when we take a look at the timing, we are finding the timing very similar to the second wave. So it makes complete sense that we are still inside of the timing from this corrective structure for this to be a wave 4. We can also see from the pivot low here to the pivot high from September, we are just hitting the 50% Fibonacci. And for a wave 4, that is very common to retrace all the way down in between 50% and the 618. And in between this area of $49,000 and $43,000 being the 618, we have the point of control of the last 4 years. Big zone, guys. It is very interesting to see what is going to be happening in the next coming days, because if we start forming sideways momentum, double bottoms, and we are finding a little bit of a range here, without a doubt, we could be speculating that this could be the bottom. Of course, it is still quite soon. We've only just dropped down to this level. We can see here when we do zoom in on the chart that we just tapped gently that high that was created when we formed when we had the ETF approval, right? When we do take a look here at the horizontal ray from this pivot high, we have just tapped that level to perfection. We have claimed this order block right over here, creating a swing failure pattern. That liquidity that we had at $50,000 has been swept, and what we can clearly see here is the reaction from the 50% Fibonacci retracement from the pivot low right over here, speculating on this being a wave 3 and that we are inside of a wave 4. We have got a really nice bounce exactly at the 50% Fibonacci. So we are going to have to find out in the next coming days if we are seeing proof of support. Of course, in the Legends trading community, I'll be focusing on lower time frame scenarios for short and for long setups, looking at the price action locally. Diving into the DXY, guys, what we do know about the dollar index is that there is usually a negative correlation when we see the dollar index getting into a downtrend for a few weeks or even several months. That is usually bullish for Bitcoin. However, everything has been collapsing globally. The markets, crypto, and we've seen all of these different markets taking the hit, even the dollar index. So there's no negative correlation right now instantly. However, if this is going to continue to the downside in the next coming months, I would expect the price of Bitcoin to find a local support and get a huge, massive bounce in the next coming weeks and months, okay? So we'll be eyeing very carefully here. What is the situation? And why could there be hope that we are going to get a recovery? Now, the only hope and bullishness that we could have for the markets in the next coming weeks and months is the Federal Reserve cutting rates right away and the money printer going on. We can see where there's an emergency meeting today regarding interest rates after the Japan stock market collapse. So are they going to start cutting rates very aggressively now in the next coming days? And the money printer going brr. We can see the president in El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, already expecting that the money printer is going to go on in the US. We can see it also. The M2 money supply breaks all-time high. So we can already see that printing activity in the background, okay? So it is happening. This is the only saver right now. We've seen the massive collapse on the markets. So was this it? We had something very similar happening when we had the C19 crash. Also for the stock markets, also for Bitcoin. When we had the massive collapse, okay, with the C19 crash here, we can see stock market absolutely collapsing. We had the interest rate cuts going down, okay, massively, and the money printer going on very aggressively. Trillions of dollars were printed. Are we going to see an emergency situation that is going to save the markets in the next coming months? Potentially, this could happen, guys. Something that we want to take into consideration. If they start printing huge amount of dollars, trillions of dollars, and the dollar index is absolutely collapsing, well, we know that this is extremely good for a market recovery, stock market and Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general. Yes, it is still a lot of hope and we could see a lot of more downside, guys, but overall, it is definitely a possibility. Now, on other news, what we do have, of course, Japanese stock market suffers the worst losses since 1987. Massive collapse, already seeing the crashes on different markets, not only Japanese, we're also seeing it in the S&P 500, but also on the Korean stock market exchange, one of the biggest collapses during the last few years. So it's already happening. We've already seen it reflected on the market. So is it, it's kind of already front running the situation. And this is when you usually see the recovery in the next coming months. Of course, you could start going to lower levels, but overall, this is not the time to be bearish because the drop has already happened. Bitcoin down 30% in the last week. Stock market, okay, S&P 500 down over 10% in the last few days. So it's already happening and we're already seeing reflected in the market. This is the moment where there's max fear and where we have the biggest opportunities to buy cheap and start DCAing very aggressively. Now, this is what I have been doing. I have bought 1,000 Chainlink today at this $9 range because I said also that I'm going to start buying Chainlink if we do drop below $10. I'll be buying Chainlink at $9, at $8, and at $7 as we are dipping beneath these levels. So I've just bought another 1,000 Chainlink today to add to my spot bag. If we get below $8, I will likely be buying another 1,000. If we get below $7, another 1,000. Below $6, another 1,000. This looks really good. This is the moment that I want to start DCAing, guys, into some altcoins. I was waiting for the situation. I had cash on the sidelines. And I'm starting to DCA aggressively and start scooping up here some really good altcoin projects, okay? Stay cautious with the risky ones. There are some that are going to go to much lower levels and they are probably not going to recover. One that I believe for the next coming months and years, a long-term investment is Chainlink. Now, not much more has to be said in this update, guys. Very aggressive collapse. It's going to be a moment of being patient. I am going to do a live stream later on to find out the different scenarios and levels of interest for the price of Bitcoin and other markets. Of course, in the Legends trading community, we'll be looking for some scalps and day trading setups right over there. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.